Good day, everyone, and welcome to episode 18 of the HJC podcast, powered by HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. I'm Ryan, your host, and of course, you can listen, download, subscribe, and share to the HJC podcast on iTunes, Google Play, HockeyJerseyConcepts.com, and other podcatchers. Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about a Canadiens jersey that is recognized in the jersey history, but may have actually never existed. The Islanders are going back to Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum for a few games next season, and we'll talk about Jaromir Jagr, who it appears his NHL career has come to an end. We also have our regular segments, which we'll be getting to today, but let's get to our co-hosts. Shawn, Monday's writer, how's it been going since last week?
I hope none of you guys try to break a stick over me, but then again, apparently that's fine now.
The goal will count, that is true. Yeah. Just be sure to wear a mask. That's all. Ben joining us, Tuesday's writer. How's it going today, Ben?
I'm doing well. The Bowling Green Falcons curb stomped the Michigan Tech Huskies in a rematch of last year's championship game, so I was happy to see that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Coming back because we're talking about the Islanders is Wednesday's writer, Phil. I'm sure you got plenty to say this week, Phil. How's it going?
I think I may have too much to say this week, to be honest with you.
And also joining us is General Lurker, hanger around, riding our coattails, friend of the show, Brendan. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Pens just won not too long ago, so I'm happy about that.
All right, good stuff. Hey, come on, man. Around the League has been canceled. All right, keep it to yourself. All right, so we're going to start off today's show by talking about a Montreal Canadiens jersey that appears never existed. All right, so this topic is inspired by John, who left a question in the mailbag a while back, and he left a link to a blog called Third String Goalie. Most of you might have come across it, but 5 or 6, maybe 7 years ago, they had an article about a Montreal Canadiens jersey, specifically the 1911-12 jersey that they used during the NHA season. This is a white jersey with red and blue sash stripes going diagonally across the chest. Those stripes are also on the cuff and the hem. So if you read the article, it makes a pretty convincing case that this jersey never actually existed, yet the Montreal Canadiens on their history website acknowledge it as being used for the 1911-12 season. So let's get right to it. Shawn, after reading the article, do you think that this jersey ever existed?
I do not think this jersey existed. I think that what this is it says in the article, I believe this is an artist rendition of the jersey that they drew back in that time that it was worn as an attempt to make it look more exciting than it actually was. We have photos of what they really wore. We have a photo, at least.
One photo.
But I feel this is like the Hamilton Tigers jersey, the one that the Hockey Hall of Fame has been searching for the better part of 40 years. Until this jersey comes up, we're not sure exactly what it looked like.
It's a really interesting story. Again, go to Third String Goalie. That's the blog. And the title of the article is called Setting the Record Straight, the 1911-12 Montreal Canadiens. Really interesting read. So, again, to recap, Montreal Canadiens list this jersey on their official jersey website, but it appears there's no photographic evidence of it existing. So, Ben, did you get a chance to read the article, and do you think this jersey ever existed?
I did read the article, and I don't think this jersey existed. I think it was a mix-up. Someone compiling the website took an artist rendition of what could have been and mistook it for what it actually was. And I think that's just the simple issue here.
So again, it does appear on the Canadiens website, but you can get those images, plaques for your wall, which show jersey histories, visual representation of a jersey history of certain teams. They're very popular for Original Six teams, and this jersey does not appear on those images. Phil, what do you think? Did this jersey ever exist?
Well, a couple things. First of all, I'm looking at the article right now. The one picture that Shawn mentioned, I have that up. They have it as him wearing a solid white jersey with neck striping, by the way, and hem striping with a number 7 on it, even though it's what's his name? What's the guy's name?
Hector Dallaire.
Hector Dallaire, yeah. Thank you for that. And apparently Dallaire never actually wore number 7 with the Canadiens, but he wore 8 and 9 during his 4 seasons with the club. Is it possible that this is a Canadiens jersey? Absolutely. Or the one that's pictured. Is it possible that it is that 11 and 12 jersey that they're missing? Yes. Is it possible that the sash jersey doesn't actually exist? Yes. I can't tell, honestly, though, because there's so many inconsistencies between the theories and the photos that I can't make a decision on that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence. I mean, the fact that there's no photos of this actual jersey. There's photos of the red jersey that they wore with the green leaf.
Right. Well, not only that, but there were also actual throwbacks of every single jersey that the Canadiens wore during their 100th anniversary season, except for the one that they were supposed to wear for that year, 1911-12.
Yeah, exactly. And
they missed 1912-13 as well. Because the article goes into detail about that originally it was thought that might not have existed as well. That's the one with the large. It's red with the large blue chest stripe with this plain C on it.
Oh, that one. Okay.
That one, the article states
for
that
12 and 13, they also had the crazy barber pole jersey with the maple leaf on it.
Yes, and the theory is that they came up with the red sweater with the blue chest stripe and the basic C because the Ottawa Senators complained that they looked too much like them in one of their games. So essentially it was just a jersey made to play the Ottawa Senators, and the article goes into depth about that. But yeah, the barber pole jerseys were 1912, 1913, and then there's some confusion about if this diagonal sash jersey never existed, what did they wear for 1911, 1912? And it seems nobody can decide whether or not they wore the green leaf sweater or the barber pole sweater. So it's really interesting. Brendan, did you get a chance to read the article? And does this jersey exist?
I'm leaning more towards no, the jersey did not exist, because there is more evidence that I guess I shouldn't say that there's more evidence that it didn't exist, but more of a lack of evidence that it did exist. But one point that nobody's really brought up is that artist's rendition, that seems as what the illustration on the Habs website is based off of. What if the artist got that from watching a game and was like, okay, this is what the jerseys look like, and then drew that up? It's not incredibly convincing to think that because, again, there's no photo evidence, but it's still a possibility considering how scattered everything seems already.
Yeah, and another point, when I went on the Canadiens history website, ourhistory.canadiens.com, they list their jerseys, and there's that initial white jersey that they had before they had the red yolks. And it lists that it had the red and blue stripes across the chest, which just denoted either defenseman or forward. So who knows? If you take the image from the third string goalie blog post that shows no sash stripe, perhaps that just denotes that he was a forward and defenseman did wear a sash. You know, that could provide evidence to prove that the jersey did exist. But I would say the jersey did not exist, and that I base that on the fact that there cannot find photographic evidence of the sash jersey. They can find the greenleaf jersey. They can find photos of the barber pole jersey, but the sash jersey, they just can't find. Another question, we'll go to Shawn, is why do you think the Habs would go ahead and include this and not do their background check? Because I contacted them on Twitter asking them about this, and there was no response. So, Shawn, maybe just a theory on why they would include this jersey in their jersey history.
I think it's because they don't know. I feel like they'd rather say this is something that was produced to show with the team because, as the article mentions, and I can't remember which one of the other guys said it, but that we don't know if that plain jersey without the sash was actually a Montreal Canadiens jersey. So I feel like because it was some material printed at the time, they could have gone with that. The thing I'm more surprised of is that the fact that in the, I believe, 2011 Heritage Classic, they easily could have worn that against the Calgary Flames.
Yeah,
and it would have existed.
Yeah.
And we'd be calling it a fallback.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. They had chances to make it exist, but they've not used it in the chances that they've had, which is very interesting, including their 100.
Although at that point, would the article come out? I know they wore this as a throwback jersey, but did it ever exist before that? So who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Ben, why do you think the Habs would list this on their official jersey history? It's on their official website.
I think it's just a simple mistake. We saw that photo with Hector.
Hector Dallaire.
I mean, the jerseys look really similar. The only thing that was different was the those like sash stripes, which are kind of hidden the way that he's posing holding his stick. So I think it's just a simple mistake, and I would put a whole lot more thought into it over that, unless someone can find a photo out of a yearbook that's been in someone's attic for 80 years.
Yeah. Well, the image of the jersey with the sash stripes apparently stems from a cartoon that was drawn up in a Montreal newspaper in 1912, I believe it was. So that's very interesting that 106 years later, that a cartoon from a newspaper could perpetuate this myth. It's very interesting. Phil, why do you think the Habs might still include this jersey on their official jersey history?
Because they have nothing else to show for it for that 1 year, to be honest with you. I mean, it's like, this is the prevailing rumor until proven otherwise. So we'll just roll with it. It's probably exactly what they were thinking.
As a jersey nerd, you would hope that they would have someone to check these facts, but also as a jersey.
Yeah, but at the same time, I work for a minor league baseball team. I can tell you right now that there are so many other things that need to be done in a sports organization, especially Major League One, that you can't be too concerned about something like that.
Hey, Montreal, hire one of us. Well, except for Ryan. Ryan doesn't want your job.
Sorry, I can't work for you, Montreal. I would move to Sunrise, Florida to cover the Panthers, but Montreal, I just couldn't do that. Ottawa, you're on that list too, so don't.
No one from Florida wants anyone to cover the team, apparently, or at least get paid for it.
So, Brendan, any theory on why Montreal would include this jersey in their jersey history?
I think it could be either one of or a combination of, like what Ben said, that they just actually forget what Ben said. I was going to say, what did Ben say? I had that in my head 2 seconds ago, and then I just started going off on another tangent in my head.
I know nobody can see the video, but Beepo's actually getting high while we're doing this episode, so he's just here for some comic relief.
Don't worry.
I think it was a combination of like maybe just ignorance that they maybe they're not really aware that this is even a problem, or kind of like what Phil said, maybe they're just taking a guess at what it might be, because apparently nobody else knows if it's not this jersey, which one is it. Maybe that's just their best guess, or what Ben said, whatever it was. It's either that, one of those, or a combination of it, I think.
That's beautiful, man.
You know what's interesting about that is that this seems to be the replacement of the 1928-29 Pittsburgh Pirates jerseys, where we knew what they looked like, but we didn't know what color they were. And we thought that they were the standard black and yellow, but in fact they were light blue, Harding blue, if you will.
Which is a great point. That leads me to my next question, is with obviously black and white photographs or a lack of photographs, you would have to wonder what other jerseys through history are represented at current day inaccurately, because maybe it's not actual photographic evidence that creates the new images. It's just word of mouth, and we all know how unreliable word of mouth can be. Shawn, just theorize on maybe some old jerseys that are inaccurate and just where this could lead us.
Okay, wait, real quick. I remember what Ben said. It was a mistake. I knew I had it in my head. My mind just went on another tangent. So, anyways, back to you, Shawn.
You know, I like to think that this isn't just the thing that with black and white jerseys. Case in point, the 97-98 Blues alternates. There are many people that don't know that jersey is in fact different than the 98 to 2007 white jersey. We have the Hamilton Tigers 2021 jersey that the Hockey Hall of Fame will pay thousands of dollars to get their hands on. There are a lot of these minor changes that teams tend to do. The 84-85 Blues, the blue jersey did not have red on it, but the white jersey did. Like, this is the thing. You think about that, and there are teams that could have been doing that, 70 years beforehand, and we almost have no idea until somebody pulls it out of their attic, or we find a scrap of paper that we can colorize.
That's perfect. Ben, any thoughts on the history or the historical inaccuracy of some jerseys?
I like what you said about photographs. I think if that's what you're basing it on, maybe going through old newspaper clippings. I think if you really wanted to get into it and do some research, I think you could find maybe the purchase records, receipts of how these jerseys were manufactured. But I think the easiest method is always going to be, or especially from this era, maybe like turn of the century, going through old newspaper clippings, archives at the library from newspapers. I think that's the most reliable thing you can do if you're budgeting your time.
Yeah, and I know I've read, as being a Leaf fan, I've read about original Leaf jerseys and even Toronto Arenas and St. Pat's before that, of the players, having the wives stitch them. So they would be sent a drawing, and then they would have to reproduce that drawing. So again, every player may have a different Maple Leaf on their jersey or what have you. So just the nature of how they were constructed back in the day could lead to historical inaccuracies in the way they're represented present day. Phil, just a thought on that and what we're talking about right now.
Again, going back to my point, it's because of so many unknowns with this jersey. It's there until they say otherwise. Basically, it's a theory, right? And it's a theory until proven false or proven true. And so it's just like any other theory in any other area of expertise, like jerseys, signs, whatever.
Yeah.
You leave it until you find out that it's wrong and you do something about it.
And I would love the Canadiens to look into this. It would be great for them to say, oh, this never existed. You could even make a jersey night out of it. Say, oh, this jersey never existed, and then you have a night where you wear that jersey, and all of a sudden it did exist.
The jersey now exists.
Yeah. We're righting a wrong, and now this jersey exists.
Natty Zero.
No.
They're going to make it as an actual sweater and wear it on the ice. It's like
get your Fanatics Montreal 12-13 throwback jerseys now at NHLshop.com. Not available in Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
Jersey can
be huge.
Brendan, if you can make your way through the foggy haze, just a thought on historical inaccuracies of jerseys.
Okay, well, wait, what's the question again?
Oh, boy.
I'm kidding.
You want to order a pizza, man? Dave's not here, man.
Can we get pineapple on it?
Go to White. Okay, you know what?
Okay, anyways, back on topic. I saw something not too long ago, especially with the Rangers Winter Classic jerseys. I'm not sure if we talked about it at all, like just in our chat or anything, or on a podcast, but it might have been a tweet. I'm not really sure where it was, but especially with the Rangers' old jerseys and how they're kind of shown as being like a very bright blue, almost like a baby blue color. And I saw something that whenever they'd have to take old black and white photos, of course, that blue and red would end up very similar on the value scale. So they would actually boost the brightness of one of the colors. So in all reality, it might not be a very bright blue that they used. It might be a very similar blue to what they use now. And if you think about that, I wonder how often they've done that for other jerseys and other teams and stuff like that, and how inaccurate things are that we have without even knowing it.
That's a great point too. Yeah, you have to. You can't do too much except for assume the color of jerseys and go by word of mouth. So that's a great point too. Again, check.
We actually have the actual jerseys archived in the Hall of Fame or something.
Right.
That's, I think, the only way that we can know for absolute sure.
And even then, they're going to fade. They're not going to represent the actual color that they were back in the day. So again, it's an article on Third String Goalie blog. It's called "Setting the Record Straight: The 1911-12 Montreal Canadiens." And thanks for John for bringing that to my attention. That is a fantastic topic. I didn't want to leave it in the mailbag and just brush through it. I thought we could dedicate a whole segment to it, and it's a really fascinating read. So again, go check it out. It's really good. So still to come in the podcast, coming up is your chance to win a free HJC sticker. So be sure to listen to that. You're listening to the HJC podcast every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. Listen, download, and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. All right, now we're going to get into Phil's wheelhouse, and Phil's going to have a lot to say about this. But the New York Islanders,
brace yourselves.
Do we call it a dispute with the Barclays Center?
Yes, 100% you do.
In their dispute with the Barclays Center, we'll be playing at least 12 games, I believe it is, at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum for next season, the 2018-19 season. So that is very interesting, and they also included that the doors open to include more games, whether that be next season or the season after. So naturally, we have to start off with you, Phil. Just your initial quick thoughts on when you heard this announcement.
Okay. I heard rumors about it beforehand, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, but why aren't you have two venues here, why aren't you playing all your games at one or the other? I don't care if they play at Barclays while Belmont's being built. I don't care if they play at the Coliseum while Belmont's being built. Why aren't you playing the full season at only one venue? This is the first time since 1999 that an NHL team is going to be playing multiple games in multiple venues within the same metropolitan area. Right?
So, not a fan. I'm assuming.
I hate it. I hate it because a couple more things. I've been to the refurbished Coliseum. Refurbished is a very generous term when it comes to the Coliseum. I was there for a couple Long Island Nets games because I had nothing better to do, and I was like, oh wait, Dr. J's number is getting retired for a franchise he never played for. And so I was in there, and I was not impressed at all. I hated it. It's like it was. If you thought it was crowded beforehand, the way the concourse was designed, nothing has changed except the ceiling feels lower, and therefore it feels even more cramped than what it felt like back before the Islanders left. So, and not only that, you kind of saw some of this coming when Barclays Center is actively pushing out the New York Islanders this season by restricting access to certain things for their fans, like the electronic ticket cards that don't work anymore. Now you have to actually print out or have mobile tickets for that instead of using a card like you did the previous season. The closing of concession stands during games.
Ouch!
That's absolutely despicable. I want Brett Yormark fired because here's the thing: I'm also a Brooklyn Nets fan. And the way he's handled the whole thing with both shut up, Shawn. The way he's handled both teams right now with Barclays Center is absolutely disgusting and absolutely unprofessional, and it's just despicable. I want him fired, and I want Brooklyn Sports and Entertainment to no longer be a thing.
The relationship or lack thereof with the Islanders and the Barclays Center has probably been a disaster since the get-go.
Yes.
I mean, they didn't.
Of course, it has.
They didn't get in because they thought they were going to get a new arena long ago, so they didn't. They didn't get into the Barclays Center, and then they.
And not only that, but as Barclays Center was being built, Yormark went up to Charles Wong, who owned the team at the time, and said, "Hey, I'm building this new arena in Brooklyn. Do you want me to make it big enough for hockey, just in case this lighthouse thing doesn't work out?" No, don't worry, we got this. The lighthouse is going to happen. It doesn't happen.
It didn't happen.
And so they build it exclusively for basketball and concerts and all that garbage. And they don't make it set for hockey. And
it's atrocious. It's atrocious for hockey.
It's disgusting.
It looks terrible on TV. From the perspective of a guy who's never been there, having that Honda parked in the corner and all that empty space.
I mean, to be fair, hold on a second. Someone actually used the Honda to create a Twitter parody, and it's hilarious. So we now all love the car. So don't shit on our car.
Well, it looks
it looks
minor.
Oh, it's not. It's not. No, at Isles White SUV. In case anyone wants to follow, we call it the Yes UV now. And to the Islanders' credit, they've kind of run with it a little bit as well, because they, in response to the Columbus Blue Jackets game day poster one time, they had a picture of the white SUV being towed by Stinger of the Blue Jackets. And then in response, after the Islanders won that game, it was Sparky driving the SUV with Stinger flying into the windshield and him getting wiped off.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
We do not condone mascot violence here at HJC, by the way.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Are you sure? One time I was Grimace and I got beat up pretty good by my fellow coworkers at McDonald's, but that's another story. I didn't deserve it. I was just taking a water break, but they mauled Grimace and I couldn't get up. I was stuck between the large cups and the sweet and sour sauce. It was awful.
So that's what happened to him.
Sean, how long is it before... I mean, are the Islanders only going to play 12 games at Nassau next year? And how long is it before they play all 41?
No, this reeks of a WHA franchise. Like, if you look at the history of some of those WHA teams playing their one season and playing in 3 different arenas, no, they're going to go back to Nassau because, when I started writing for this blog, which was a long time ago, we were seeing the photos of the Barclays Center with the not centered Jumbotron. And there's something people talk about even in my neck of the woods. Halifax, Nova Scotia knows that the New York Islanders arena has an off-center Jumbotron. And that should tell you how much of a joke it is. And they will do everything that they can to get out of that arena, even if it means no more black jerseys, which I'm going to say now. I'm going to make the sacrifice, and I will allow the Islanders not to wear black anymore if they get a nice
Yay!
All right, Ben, what do you think?
Do you mind if I just counter that real quick?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I couldn't give a damn about an off-center scoreboard because I'm not watching a scoreboard. I'm watching a hockey game. The biggest problem, though, is the obstructed seats. You have 3,000 seats where you can't even see a decent chunk of the ice.
I mean, to be fair, the ACC has that too, and they charge you a lot more for that.
Yeah, Hazlitt found that out firsthand. Right?
Obstructed view, 110 apiece, feeling good.
Yeah, at least on the secondary markets, those tickets go down to as low as $2.
Ooh.
Y'all want to come to Brooklyn for a game?
Yeah, if I can get there before they leave, yeah, I would.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of discount airlines coming to Canada now too. So
nice.
There we go.
Don't fly Frontier.
All right, we'll go to Ben now, and just, Ben, your thoughts on how long the Islanders actually are going to stay at Barclays Center after this announcement.
We're going to stay as short as possible. The Barclays Center has 2 main issues, and as a hockey fan and an aspiring architect, I can say the Barclays Center is awful, and that's the first problem. The building is just ugly. That rusted metal on the outside, I can't stand it. Scoreboard off center, as you mentioned. They have what's called a cantilever out in front. There's a gaping hole in the middle, so if you're trying to get out of the rain, you can't. There's a gaping hole where you could be covered. That's really the first issue. The second issue is Gary Bettman and his love for the almighty U.S. dollar. He just steps into Nassau and says, no, this is not an NHL quality facility. It doesn't even care how bad the Barclays Center is. It just says number of seats, what's the potential for the NHL to make money, and that's why he doesn't want the Islanders at the old Coliseum. Fort never lose.
Well, to be fair, the Islanders don't even want to be there for games because they know that they can make more money in Brooklyn.
I guess that's fair, but I mean, from just the point of having to look at the outside of the Barclays Center, I can't stand it anymore. I just want the Islanders to move already.
Just now, I mean, if you go back and hindsight is 20/20, but you can see how dire the situation was for the Islanders to accept playing at Barclays Center. They almost were so desperate that they thought that was a great deal at the time, that was the right deal. And so quickly into the agreement, you just saw that it wasn't going to work. So, I'm happy that now they've got their Belmont deal and that's going to happen. But I mean, it's going to be tough 3 seasons, and we'll see if Johnny T wants to stick around or if he's bailing. We'll see what's going on there. Brendan, just your thought, how long until the Islanders are playing all 41 at Nassau?
I'm going to I don't know much about this, so like just this kind of stuff in general, so I'm not going to talk about it too long. But I think I'm going to side with Ben and say that, no, I'm kidding. I know what Ben said this time. I'm going to side with him and say that they're going to go where the money is, which is probably likely Barclays just because it's bigger. As far as I'm aware, it's bigger. But it's never really impressed me, especially the off-center scoreboard did make it a laughingstock for a while, and it does seem as though it's still there the way you guys are talking about it. But it's never really impressed me, but they're going to go where the money is. So if this Nassau experiment somehow makes them more money, they're going to flock back to there. I don't know if it will, but if it somehow does, that's where they're going to go. Otherwise, they're just going to stay until a new arena is built.
Yep. Let me just expand upon what you were saying real quick, because
Something smart? I can't believe
it. You actually said something extremely smart, because let's compare the two, okay? Right now, Nassau Coliseum seats 13,900 for hockey. Barclays Center seats 15,000 and change, okay? Barclays Center also has like 5 times the number of suites that Nassau Coliseum has. So which is more profitable, an Islanders-Rangers game at the Coliseum or an Islanders-Rangers game at Barclays Center?
Oh, yeah.
I have a solution.
Uh-huh.
Well,
move the Coyotes to Brooklyn, and they can become the Brooklyn Coyotes.
oh my God.
Yeah, that's what we need. Another New York team.
Move the Islanders to Seattle.
Move to Seattle.
Vegas is already taken.
The solution here is you play all the lesser opponents at Nassau Coliseum, like the Coyotes, like the Flames. That way you get the stubborn Islander fans who refuse to go to Brooklyn. That's going to be in Brooklyn. Like
Flames.
Yeah, just the
Flames,
the
Canucks, all those lower level games. You bring them to Nassau so that you have all the fans who refuse to go to Brooklyn for games because they're either lazy or casually racist, and they go to those games, and you have the bigger money-making games in Brooklyn.
How long is it till, just quickly, Phil, how long is it, though, until Barclays just starts recklessly booking other things at Barclays Center? Because they own and operate Nassau, or they just operate?
They own and operate the building. Well, actually, no, they operate the building. Nassau County owns the land and the building, I believe. Okay.
So how long until the people who own Barclays start booking concerts and other events? Because it sounds like they just don't want the Islanders there. And the Islanders almost get forced to play in Nassau. Even if it's a Islanders-Rangers game, maybe Barclays wants wrestling instead. How long until that happens?
They'll put esports in there before they make sure that they have the Islanders there.
So
I'd say almost instantly.
I can't wait till next year.
I don't trust Brooklyn Sports and Entertainment at all.
I can't wait till next year when there's a game scheduled for Barclays, and then you get the announcement, ahead of time.
They're moving an ass off for the game.
Yeah, and that's gonna. And as soon as that works, they're just gonna keep doing it over and over and over.
A similar situation is like New York City FC and the Yankees over at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees, oh, by the way, we're in the playoffs. Oh, by the way, we're making up this game from a rain delay. You don't have time to play your regularly scheduled MLS match at Yankee Stadium. See you later. Good luck.
And then they just boot them out. Well, the Yankees run New York, so that's just how that goes.
But still, again, point being is that the Yankees also run the building, just like how Brooklyn Sports Entertainment runs both buildings.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I guess the Islanders are just going to tough it out, and when
they have no choice,
so they're just going to wait it out till Belmont is built, and I know it's not what Islanders fans want to hear because it's happened before, but maybe now is the time to tank and build up your draft picks, and that way when Belmont's ready to go, you have a young and up-and-coming team, and we'll see where this goes. At
that time, though, you probably have already re-signed Tavares to a massive deal. You're going to have to re-sign Barzal to a massive deal, right? And then you've got other kids coming up that are looking promising, like Kiefer Bellows already.
You guys need a goalie.
No, we need defense. The goalie's okay at best. maybe good on good days, but the goalie's not the problem. It's not his fault that he's making 45 saves in a 5-0 loss.
Well, it'll certainly be interesting, a good thing to track. Let's quickly jump to Jaromir Jagr. It appears his NHL career is done. Calgary Flames putting him on waivers, and then they say loaning him to the team he owns in the Czech Republic. So I guess he's still on NHL contract, so this excludes him from the Olympics. But Shawn, your thoughts on the career of Jaromir Jagr?
I wasn't alive for 5 years of Jaromir Jagr's career. That should tell you just how long the guy's been in the league. In my lifetime that I can remember, he was a Capital, he was a Ranger, all those teams that he played one season for. The thing that I remember him most is he made the Florida Panthers tolerable. That's his biggest career accomplishment in my mind, because he took a team that was, on death's door and made them entertain. Like, they were a team you wanted to root for. He took a team that, take whatever you want to do with the stands and that, but they were wearing Reebok Edge cookie cutter template jerseys, for God's sakes. And they were wearing that, and you were like, you know what, I'd get that jersey just to get 68 in the back of it. That's what I remember him for anyways.
Jagr's biggest career accomplishment, according to Shawn. Back-to-back Stanley Cups? Nope.
Nah.
He made the Florida Panthers tolerable.
Yeah.
Florida
That's a harder
Panthers.
thing than winning back-to-back Stanley Cups in my mind.
Shawn wasn't even alive for the Cups, so.
That's true. None of
Neither
us
was I.
were.
Ben,
Except for Ryan.
yeah. Ben, your thoughts on Jaromir Jagr's career wrapping up, and just what you thought of him as a player.
Well, I'm going to assume that my application to join the Traveling Jagrs is going to be denied now. Rest in peace to the mullet. Jagr, great hockey player, cool name. Always like Czech players because of Dominik Hasek. He had such a personality too. I think the game is really going to miss him.
Phil, Jagr?
Jagr was a long-time Islander killer because he played for almost every single original Atlantic Division team except for the New York Islanders. Right?
Yep, absolutely.
He played for the Rangers. He played for the Devils. He played for the Flyers. He played for the Penguins.
Capitals.
And the Capitals weren't in the old Atlantic Division, but he still killed the Islanders whenever he faced them anyway. So I'll say this about him. He was arguably the greatest hockey player of my generation.
Brendan?
Because I was born in 1993, and he was already kicking rear ends well before then, helping lead the Penguins to back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Brendan, Penguins fan, thoughts on Jagr?
Well, I wasn't alive for a lot of his tenure as a Penguin, but I do know that he did lead, well, not necessarily lead them, but did help them a lot to the back-to-back Cups, which is obviously something that I really love as a Pens fan. Sucks that he had to be a Flyer at some point. I feel bad for him for that one. But obviously a great career and going to be missed. And I know this is probably just people on Reddit that I saw being very hopeful about things, but apparently part of what has kind of hindered him is an injury. I think it was to his hip or something, maybe. I don't remember exactly what it was. But they were being hopeful that maybe he's just going back to the Czech Republic for now to or maybe that next year, once he heals up, maybe he'll come back. Yeah.
The hip seems to have been an issue for the last 5 or 6 years, so we'll see.
That's probably just people on Reddit being very hopeful and optimistic, but it's a theory nonetheless.
Well, the door's not closed, but it would appear with nobody looking to sign him this past summer, and then it not working out in Calgary, it might come to an end. I was a Gretzky Lemieux guy, so Jagr was kind of on the back burner for me, never really paid attention. So as far as from my perspective, he quietly became the number 2 scorer of all time. And then it was just it seemed the twilight of his career lasted forever when he came back from the KHL. And, but what a career. He still needed 900 points to catch Gretzky. So I'm a Gretzky guy, but just incredible. And so, Shawn, I wanted to ask you first, if you had to buy one Jagr jersey, what would it be? Just one.
I had to pick exactly one Jaromir Jagr jersey.
One. No exceptions. I only want to hear one Jagr jersey.
It'd be that Florida Panthers red jersey. It would be, just because I have a lot of great memories going to the local bar, Oakville, Ontario, and watching them in that cup run. Well, it was one round, but it was a good round. And I just remember him on the Panthers breaking all the records that he did. And think about it. Who else are you going to get in a Florida Panthers jersey? Danny Heatley? I don't think so.
All right, let's go to Ben. And Ben, the same question goes to you. One Jagr jersey if you had to buy one.
I have a friend from Pittsburgh who has the black Jagr jersey, and I'm jealous of it, so I'll have to go with that one.
All right, Phil, one Jagr jersey.
I'd have to go, believe it or not, with the. Actually, that's a very good question, because I don't want to. Obviously, not the Rangers jersey. Obviously, not the Devils. Maybe the Penguin. Maybe the Penguins jersey that had the weird chest stripe going all the way across. Not the Dallas Stars jersey, because that was awful. Not the Panthers, because the Panthers lost to the Islanders that year. Sorry, Shawn.
Yeah, don't apologize. Thomas Greiss had a great series.
Oh, absolutely. For once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to go with that Penguins alternate, soon-to-be road jersey.
Brandon, same for you?
Yeah, probably one of those. But just for something that's a more unique answer, because as we all know, I'm a Penguins fan, I would probably have to go with, if it wasn't a Penguins jersey, probably the white Capitals one from the era that he wore it with the Screaming Eagle, because I'm not necessarily sure that's the best jersey he's ever worn aside from Penguins ones. But it's definitely a unique jersey nonetheless.
Yeah,
I will defend that jersey. That was the first jersey I remember Jagr in. And in fact, I had forgotten he had played for the Rangers until he was on the Bruins. Like, to give you an idea of how...
I forgot about him on the Bruins, yeah. Right.
Made it to the...
Not
he
even
was on
a
the
bad
finals.
jersey.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad jersey. It's unique, but it's not even that bad. There were much worse to come out of that era.
It's not my favorite jersey, but it's the one I think of Jagr wearing. So that appears to be the end of Jaromir Jagr's career, but there are still plenty of jerseys that can be produced in the CCM vintage line. They could have a whole Jagr line if they wanted to. Still to come in the podcast.
Complimentary mullets.
Complimentary mullets. It's attached to the back of the jersey. Still to come up in the podcast is your chance to win a free HJC sticker. So be sure to be listening for that. And now it's time for Throwback Throwdown. This is where we take two old jerseys and pit them against each other. And then the co-hosts vote on their favorite. And tonight we're going back to 1930, inspired by our main topic of the mystery Montreal Canadiens jersey. But we're going back to 1930, and we're talking about the New York Americans jersey against the Ottawa Senators Barber Pole jersey. So we're going to do a quick review on each jersey, then we'll pick a winner. Shawn, go ahead with your New York Americans review.
I love the New York Americans jerseys. They're over the top. The fact that if the players' wives had to make these, oh my gosh, those poor women. Like, these are detailed jerseys, especially considering when they came out. And, the Americans were always ahead of their time in terms of jerseys. They tried the name on the back before anybody else. I believe they did it twice. And, but this is one of the few pre-original 6 jerseys that I think has an identity people are familiar with.
Ben, your thoughts on the New York Americans 1930 jersey?
I always like it when they put the word marker script on a jersey, and I really like how they blended it in with the striping pattern. Then, of course, over the top, just screaming USA, USA. Stars over the yoke looks really nice. Red, white, and blue stripes everywhere. So overall, I like this look.
Yeah, it could be a mishmash, but it kind of turns out pretty good. Phil, New York Americans.
If there was any other jersey to scream American pride, it was that one, because you had a field of blue stars and red and white stripes all over the place, and it was gorgeous. It's an absolute classic. I love it.
Brendan, thoughts on this jersey?
Well, this jersey definitely does scream that it comes from the Barber Pole era, but it's actually not that far away from being something that could be worn today. Take away that chest stripe, and it could actually be worn today. And like Phil said, it absolutely screams America, almost as much as Phil Kessel does. So it's a pretty nice looking. It's a pretty nice look in general. Definitely a little bit busy, but definitely a product of its time. And with a few adjustments, could be a nice modern jersey.
I don't think John Tortorella listened to that scream of America, though.
All right, and the New York Americans jersey is going up against the original Ottawa Senators. This is their jersey from 1930. We have a barber pole pattern, and this is the one with the white yolks, the square white yolks on the shoulders. And the number on the back is in a square white patch, so certainly unique. Shawn, your review of this Ottawa jersey.
I don't hate these Sens with a fiery passion. In fact, I think they're historically relevant. And these jerseys, they wouldn't work today, but they certainly have a lot more identity than anything the modern Sens have ever worn.
Ben, your thought on 1930 Ottawa Senators jersey?
Also the same era, so it goes with the striping pattern I really like. It's not just sort of the modern, maybe more black of color. I think this one was really, let's put color everywhere. I don't think it's as strong as the Americans, though. It doesn't really have a theme. It's just three colors repeating over and over. But it was a really good idea for the Sens to call back to with the looks they've had recently, most recently with their outdoor game. So I think this is a solid jersey, especially for the era.
Let's go to Phil.
This style jersey was the foundation of professional and junior hockey in Ottawa because of the barber pole pattern. It's nice. There's no theme to it, like Ben said, but at the same time, it's inspired so much throughout Ottawa Senators and Ottawa 67's history that you can't help but like it.
And Brendan, your review of the Ottawa Senators jersey.
Yeah, it's definitely busy and a product of its time, but it's definitely very historical and has had a lot of influence on, like Phil said, Ottawa hockey. And actually, I'm looking at it, and similar to the Americans, I think it's actually pretty close to, just with minor tweaks, being able to be worn today. You could argue for sure that the Senators, that's exactly what they did. I would argue that's a little bit more than minor tweaks and more just taking some inspiration from this, but nonetheless, I think it's still close to being able to be a modern jersey, but maybe not quite as close as the Americans one, at least keeping the original spirit of it anyways.
All right, it's time to pick a winner. Shawn, you're going first. Who do you have, the Senators or the Americans?
I got to tell you, I love the Americans jersey, but that white yoke on the Senators jersey is it just looks nice. I'm giving it to the Sens.
One for the Sens. Ben, who's your winner in this one?
Going to even it up and go with the Americans.
Phil, you sticking with your New York pride, or are you giving it to the Senators?
Damn right I am. New York pride. I'm going to go with the Americans. And never mind the fact that they were essentially the first rival to the New York Rangers.
That is true. So that always drives me nuts when people want to say, the Rangers should throw back to the Americans. No,
absolutely not.
That's like
they
if
played in the same building, but they absolutely despised each other.
Yeah, that's like if the Islanders or the Rangers disappeared and then the other team threw it back to the disappearing team. No, it doesn't happen. So the score is 2-1 Americans currently. Brendan, you going to tie this up, or are you going to give the Americans the win?
It's a really close call for me. I'm really close to picking Ottawa just because of how much historical influence it's had especially. But I'm just going to look at this more from a modern perspective and what looks better from a modern perspective and pick the Americans.
The Americans with the win, 3-1. And if it was tied anyway, I was going to give it to the Americans. So they win outright, 3-1 on this Throwback Throwdown from 1930. Certainly throwing it back quite a way. Still to come on the podcast, as we've been mentioning, is your chance to win a free HJC sticker. So keep sticking around and listening. Fake or authentic? It is time for fake or authentic. This is where I give a few statements, and then the co-hosts choose whether or not the statement is fake or authentic, just like all the fine jerseys out there. So here we go with statement number 1. I would purchase a discounted Fanatics jersey before I purchase a full-price Reebok jersey. Shawn.
That is 100% authentic, namely because I don't own a Fanatics jersey. I'd like to have one for historical purposes. But on top of that, in comparing the Reebok Premier to the Fanatics, I mean, it's a downgrade, but, shoulder patches on the Fanatics ones, to me, feel better. They don't look better, but they feel better than the Premier ones. I'd rather just save the money and go for a Reebok authentic, or a Adidas authentic.
All right, Ben, is this fake or authentic for you?
I'm going to say fake. The problem I have with Fanatics is the difference between a hockey jersey and a t-shirt is so minuscule here. The price just doesn't justify it. So I would say save up, and I would go for a Reebok.
Phil, fake or authentic?
All right. Putting it purely at a financial standpoint, if the discount is more than $20, then maybe I would do it, because the replica Reebok jerseys were, $109, and then the Fanatics are $129. Combine that with the quality of material used between the two jerseys, that is absolutely a fake. That I would never buy a Fanatics jersey unless the discount was not even 50%, even more than that. If it was more than 50% off, then maybe I would consider it, but otherwise, no.
All right, Brendan, fake or authentic, would you purchase a discounted Fanatics jersey before a full-price Reebok?
It kind of depends on what Phil was saying, how much it's discounted, what the price actually is. Because I don't think the price, the full price, is actually that much different between the. I'm not sure if you meant authentics or premieres for the Reebok, but if we're talking premieres, I don't think the price difference was that much. So it depends on how much it is. But I'm going to say authentic if it's enough, but I wouldn't do it very often. Mainly, especially just for some Adidas jerseys that I don't own yet, like Minnesota Wild's home, for example. One of the new ones that I don't own that I want to own.
All right, good stuff. Let's go to the next statement. It's not a jersey foul to get a Captain C on a Leafs Austin Matthews jersey, Adidas jersey right now, because he's going to be captain at some point anyway. Fake or authentic? Is this a jersey foul, Shawn?
It's authentic that it's a jersey foul if you get it on the Arenas jersey. And do not do that to your Arenas jersey. Please. Don't even get a Matthews Arenas jersey. He never wore it, but it's one of those things where they produced them already. So, I mean, if you're going to get one, get one. But, yeah, the home and road, it's probably a safe bet. I'm going to say it's a jersey foul until it happens, but it's going to happen. And Ryan and I both know it's going to happen. So, unless they bring back Captain Pylon. You're probably safe doing it. Just don't ruin your Arenas jersey, please.
Oh, Dion.
All right, Ben. Fake or authentic? If someone were to get a Captain Austin Matthews jersey right now, is that a jersey foul?
I would say it's a jersey foul. I would say it's probably 99% chance that he's going to end up captain at some point, but it's that 1% and the fact that it hasn't happened yet. I would say jersey foul because you never know. Maybe he pulls a Jack Eichel and says, "This franchise sucks. I want out. Trade me," or fire the coach. In Jack Eichel's case, but
Jack Eichel's the GM.
And then not to give way to tinfoil hat theories, but maybe he comes out he's fighting dogs like Michael Vick, or he does whatever Patrick Kane does to girls. And
oh, okay. That took a left turn and a half.
I've had enough of your wild allegations.
I'm just saying it's always the possibility, however slight. So
it's like Ben's gonna go to a Maple Leafs game with a sign: Austin Matthews hates puppies.
No. Austin Matthews wears Canadiens jerseys at home.
Austin
Matthews is a Sens fan.
Yeah, no. To be fair, I think I know why Brendan said that, because I went to an Islanders game saying Tom Wilson kicks puppies.
Oh, did you? I think I saw somewhere that somebody had.
Yeah, it was on Spit and Chicklets, and I was the one who made that sign and had it up during warm-ups. But to be fair, it's Tom Wilson.
All right, Phil, it's not a jersey foul to get a Captain C on a Leafs Matthews jersey. Fake or authentic?
Fake. It is very much a jersey foul to get a Captain C on the authentic jersey, on the Adidas jersey right now, because he's not the captain. Plain and simple. He's not the captain right now. Wait until the announcement is made. For example, I saw when the Islanders went up to the Bell Center, there were guys who had John Tavares Habs jerseys. Is it possible that he may go to the Habs? Maybe. If he does, then the jersey's fine. But he's not there right now. So therefore the jerseys are not fine. Austin Matthews is not the captain right now. Therefore it is not fine. It is a jersey foul.
You could save a few bucks, though, if you did it now. If you had to go back with your Matthews jersey and ask for the C, they might charge you. So you could save a few bucks now, but...
No.
All right, Brendan.
Trust me, I'm big on saving money, but no.
This has gone too far.
Yeah. Draw the line.
Brendan, fake or authentic on this?
It's definitely fake. As of this moment, he's not the captain yet. It's a jersey foul. But like Shawn said, if you get it on the home or road jersey, it's probably a safe bet that he will eventually become captain. It's still a jersey foul until it happens, don't get me wrong. But it's pretty much a safe bet that it is going to happen unless maybe the Leafs decide to change their jerseys a little bit. I doubt it, but if they decide to change their jerseys before it happens, then it would be a jersey foul that you can't really get back.
Oh, this just in. The Leafs are eliminating their hem stripe to improve speed.
All right, good stuff. In conclusion, Austin Matthews, greatest player in the NHL right now. Yep, we all agree? Okay, good. Moving on.
Hold on.
All right. No, we're moving on. It's been settled. Fake or authentic, our final one. I've returned a jersey back to a retailer because the cresting was done incorrectly. Shawn, fake or authentic?
Fake, because the one jersey that the place did do incorrect cresting on, they misspelled Brian Giunta with an extra G and an A. And I was fine with that. I felt that was an appropriate measure. It made my turd burger certainly look great. No, I've never returned it. In actuality, I did have one jersey where the place put the Mooseheads home numbers on an alternate, and it actually ended up looking better than the real thing. So despite it technically being a jersey foul, it's like correcting, what they should have done. And it's a Mooseheads jersey, so I'm not too concerned. Everything else was done perfectly on it, and it looks good, so, I'm not complaining.
Ben, we'll go to you. Have you ever returned an improperly crested jersey? Or is this fake or authentic for you?
This is fake. My financial situation at the moment, I don't have high standards for my jersey purchases. So I always get pre-worn. I've been burned by a couple fakes too, and just don't want to deal with the sellers at that point.
Yeah. Phil, fake or authentic for you? You've returned a improperly crested jersey.
Authentic. And not only was it just improperly crested, it was the nameplate improperly sublimated to the jersey.
Oh.
Because the New York Riveters had all the jerseys screen printed, and they put an extra L at the end of Amanda Kessel's last name on the back.
Oh.
And I had to send it back, and I'm glad they took it. I wanted them to fix it, but they didn't, so they just gave me my money back, which is cool, I guess, but it still would be cool to have an Amanda Kessel jersey with a name spelled correctly.
No, that's interesting when you talk about name bars, because a good friend of mine got a Mariusz Czerkowski Islanders orange alternate. And the place took,
that's incredible.
I think it was 3 weeks extra to make this thing. And he emailed them saying, "You're making this authentic, right?" And they said, "Yes." And he gets the jersey, and there's no nameplate on it. They've sewn the numbers directly to the jersey, which some teams do now, but did not do in 2003, I can assure you.
Oh, my God.
He emailed them, and he's like, "Yo, give me my money back." And they're like, "You can't. It's a customized product." So I will say you got lucky on that.
Yeah, well, not only that, but like the whole process of changing the nameplate on one of those sublimated jerseys is you can't take off the section that has the name bar on it, even though it's completely different colored from the rest of the jersey, because they had white name bars, I believe, on the Red Riveters jerseys. But they had to take the entire back half of the jersey underneath the yoke, separate it from the body of the jersey, and replace it with a correct one. So,
wow. All right, Brendan, fake or authentic? You've returned a jersey back to a retailer because of improper cresting.
Fake. It's actually never really happened to me, as far as I'm aware, unless I'm missing something, but I don't think it's ever actually happened to me. The closest that this has, well, technically it kind of has happened to me, and I guess the closest it has come to happening to me is the singular Philadelphia Flyers jersey I own that I got for Christmas. It's a Max Talbot jersey, and I'm only ever going to wear it for either ugly sweater parties or if I lose a bet or something like that. But the numbers on the back are supposed to be white. They actually look more like a vintage white or cream color, which I don't really know how, because I don't think the Flyers have ever worn vintage white numbers. I looked through it, and even like on the Winter Classic, I think they were black, I believe.
Yes, they were.
So I don't know entirely how that happened unless they used something from a different team. But since I'm not going to wear it much, I'm not really worrying about it. I saw that even before I ordered it and bought it, and I'm not really particular about it just because I'm never going to wear it.
All right, good stuff. This is I'm going to jump in on this one too. This is fake for me because when I'm at the store and I'm looking to get a jersey crested, I'm the guy sitting there asking 5 minutes of questions and making sure that they're doing it right and that they have confident answers. Like a couple years ago, I got a white RoboPen jersey done with Ron Tugnut on the back, and I wanted them to know that the TV numbers on the sleeves were different than the numbers on the back. They're stouter numbers, I guess you could say. And I needed them to convince me that they knew what they were doing. And so I had them call their jersey cresting place, and I talked to the people at the jersey cresting place to confirm that they did have style guides and that they would have the proper numbers on the RoboPen jersey. So this is fake for me, but that's because I'm the annoying guy at the store bothering people to make sure it's done properly.
See, I'm too antisocial to be that way.
See, I've found a place that I know that, you know, with the exception of that Mooseheads jersey, that ended up being a happy accident, in the words of Bob Ross. They've done everything authentic. Even a St. John's Ice Caps 2015 Remembrance Day jersey. They did that to a T. So if you find a good place, please give them business, because if they can do the obscure things right, you have a winner. Because I will say that seeing a crappily customized jersey is one of the worst things you'll ever see. Case in point, that beautiful on HJC Twitter, the 97 McDavid Leafs jersey, which, by the way, that's a kind of rare Leafs jersey because the Vector logo was only on the back of that jersey for one season in 2010-11. But you go look on HJC Twitter and see this thing. Looks like it was painted on.
Yeah, the guy was at the game I was at on Wednesday, and he went ahead and put white hockey tape on the back of his Leafs jersey, and he decided to go with 97 McDavid, of course. You know, why not?
I'd rather him do that than throw it onto the ice like they usually do.
No, the Sens are doing that now.
Yeah, that's a Sens thing now. That's a Sens thing.
Perfect timing, because I'm wearing a Senators jersey right now.
Oh, that's gross. That's gross.
I think I saw something about an Oilers fan put one in a urinal.
Just as great as their crap.
Here we go. This is
HJC podcast rated XXX.
This is your chance to win a free HJC sticker. Simply go onto Twitter and tweet about this podcast. Be sure to provide a direct link to the podcast and tag us in your tweet at HockeyJC. And a winner will be randomly selected from those that entered and will be announced here on the podcast next week. So that's go onto Twitter, tweet about this podcast, provide a direct link to it. Make sure to tag us at HockeyJC, and that's your chance to win a free HJC sticker. Mailbag. It's time to go into the HJC Mailbag, and if you want to leave us a question and have it answered on a podcast, go to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. There's a form on the right side of the page. It says HJC Mailbag. Leave your question with your name, and we'll try to answer it on a podcast. Or you can also email us your questions, mailbag at hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. Not many questions to get to this week, but that's okay. We got one from our own Jets96, also known as Shawn. And this was left, this was left 3 months ago, but that's okay. What's your favorite CHL team look? We're going to take the first half of this question, Shawn. What's your favorite CHL team look? Why don't you start us off, Shawn?
You know, I'm a little biased being in Halifax, but I'm going to give it to the Mooseheads. Just kidding. Blanfo, Bobry, and Armada. I think for a team that can somehow manage to pull off the black and white look in hockey, they're very simple. The logo's very nice. The shoulder patch is absolutely gorgeous. And I like the jerseys. Very simple black and white with a single chest stripe and a very thick arm stripe. I've been lucky enough to see them live in Lanville, and they look pretty good.
All right, let's go to Ben, and just Ben, off the top of your head, the most notable or your favorite CHL look.
Excuse me for my ignorance, but is this the same thing as the OHL?
Yeah, OHL, QMJHL, WHL, they're all encompassed in the CHL.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, my look would be the Saginaw Spirit. I don't think it's like a bland American theme that lots of other teams did. I think they did a good job making something unique and just a little bit different, something that Saginaw can call their own.
Could have said Flint.
Flint. Oh boy,
Firebirds.
Yeah. They were a gong show at the beginning. You don't hear much from them now. Phil, your favorite CHL look? Phil's on mute. This is fantastic.
Oh, there we go.
There he is. He's back.
Forgot to switch back. But everyone that's watching this podcast, that's part of it, can see that I have changed jerseys from an Ottawa Senators jersey to the best look in the entire CHL, and that's the Kelowna Rockets. They have made the best, or the white jersey specifically, not the black one. The black one sucks. But they have made the best look of that St. Louis Blues template from the original Edge system. And it just looks perfect. The teal and red go so well together for no reason at all, and I love it.
Yeah, they have fantastic colors. Okay, Brendan, here you go. Here's your chance. What's your favorite CHL look?
I mean, this is without doing much preparation beforehand because obviously we just got asked, but I'd probably have to go with Oshawa. They have some actually pretty unique jerseys. They're pretty historical. They're nice looking. And there's not much more you can ask for from that. Another nice look is the Oil Kings, especially their jerseys. I think I like those ones a good bit. But if I'd have to, for my number one, I'd probably have to say Oshawa.
You know what, Beepo, I agree. Those neon and black jerseys that the Oil Kings have are absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, yeah, ignore those ones, but of course,
my
God. Like that one.
Those are trash.
I don't even think he's joking about that.
I'm not
he's
joking
not
about that.
He's not.
Like those jerseys.
Exactly.
God.
I don't mind the logo on it, honestly, but they just don't use it well on that jersey.
For me, Kingston Frontenacs look pretty good. I like their jerseys with the faux back look with the K on the front, but just a step ahead of those, the Red Deer Rebels. Classic jersey. I love classic looking jerseys. I love a simple look. Red Deer nails it out of the park with their alternate, so I'm going to have to go and give it to the Red Deer Rebels from the WHL. All right,
nobody else loved the Chilliwack Bruins.
Chilliwack Bruins, how long have they been gone? They turned into the Victoria Royals, didn't they?
This makes me feel old. It's been, I think I had just started. No, 10-11 was their last season.
All right, so it wasn't that long.
For those who don't remember Chilliwack, take Vegas gold, add it to the Bruins logo, replace the B with a C, and then add like dark salmon to your color scheme. So their color scheme was Vegas gold, dark salmon, silver, and black.
And they wore Penguins copies.
And they wore Penguins copies with a Bruins jersey, and then they used the Senators Sens jersey template in that same dark salmon. Like, they were just a mess. They only lasted for 5 years, from 06 to 11, and Chilliwack still hasn't gotten a team, and in fact are very likely to never get a team in the WHL. Again, Surrey, the Eagles likely moving to the WHL at some point.
All right. We have a new question here from John. And what's the most you have ever paid or would pay for a jersey? Shawn, start us off. What's the most you've ever paid or would pay for a jersey?
The most I've ever paid for a jersey was a brand new Adidas jersey, and that was $250. Which is
God.
Fully customized, stitched. Like, I went all out on this because I like my jerseys hand stitched. I think I got my money's worth on it. But the most I'd be willing to spend on a jersey, I think, would be $350 for a blank Wild Wing. or era specific. I think that 350 is probably the price that those are worth. Probably, number 2, an original Burger King at 300. Those original 90s jerseys, the original issues of them with the CCM tag with the rink on it. Those I think are worth about $300. Anything else than that that's not game worn, I'm not paying a cent over $350 for.
All right, let's go to Ben. Ben, what's the most you've paid or would pay for a jersey?
Yeah, I'm on the way lower end. The most I've ever paid is $40, and that was for a used Red Wings jersey.
Well done.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah. I've been burned by a couple of fakes, too. Most I would be willing to pay? I don't know, because I was looking at other Red Wings jerseys for the discounted Reebok and the Switch, and those were going for like 60 or 70, and I wasn't really willing to pull the trigger. So I'd say somewhere in the 40 to 50 range.
Fair enough. Excellent point. Way to stick to your guns. All right, Phil, most you've ever paid or would be willing to pay?
The most I've ever paid for a jersey was $126, and that was a Adidas Indo Authentic Islander jersey. And that's considering that was more money that I spent on a fisherman jersey. I'm not spending any more than that on any sort of jersey ever again.
All right. Brendan?
I think the most I have spent is probably around 180, which I believe was the Reebok Premier price. I've bought one or two of those at full price, I believe. The most I would be willing to pay, probably similar to Shawn, maybe around $300, $350 for something special that came along. And if something really special came along, like a game-worn, like maybe a game-worn Penguins jersey, maybe $500, but I'd really have to think about that one beforehand. That one definitely wouldn't be an impulse buy.
And for me, the most I've ever paid for a jersey is $375 for a game-used Leaf jersey, which would probably...
Telquist.
No, this was my road Keith Ollie jersey from the
Oh my god!
10-11 season with the Vector logo actually on the Reebok Vector logo on the back.
So it's a rare jersey.
A bit, yeah. It's also Keith Ollie, so that makes it extra rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Sorry, Keith Ollie.
Yeah. Keith Ollie traded.
Now, quick question for you. That's more expensive than your Burger King jersey that you have?
Yeah, the Burger King jersey was on discount. So, yep.
What?
Yeah, this was last Christmas. Sportsk.com. So I guess on Mitchell and Ness, these are $300. I think it is. And these were on for $250 or less last Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a good deal. The most I would pay for a jersey. This is tough because it's not like I have money, but let's pretend I had money or a credit card or whatever. $500 to $600 for a game used Leaf jersey with the Stanley Cup final patch on it, I guess, which is probably not reasonable. I need a Wild Wing. For multiple reasons. Good one, guys. I love it. That's awesome. I'd love a Wild Wing in my collection or a Fisherman, but I just can't go above $300 for those. I can't do it. I've seen them. I've had the opportunity, but I can't go above $300. So I just might be out of luck on those. But yep, that's a great question. Thanks everyone for dropping off your questions in the mailbag. And again, go to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com and there's a form on the side of the page to leave your questions, or you can leave them at mailbag@hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. And that is everything.
Get a game used Austin Matthews jersey from this year and then put a captain's patch on it.
Oh, all right. That's going too far for me. Yep. That just ruins it.
Don't get a game used, Matthews jersey. We can get a 2003-2004 game used Islanders jersey with Justin Mappletoft on the back.
All right. That's everything we got planned for you this week. Just a reminder that the concept of the year has been decided for 2017. And the winner this year is Jake's Pittsburgh Stadium Series concept. Yeah, congratulations, Jake. Absolutely. Your championship plaque.
Well deserved.
Very well deserved.
Yeah, his championship plaque is on the way. And which I find it absolutely amazing that his concept was actually posted on the first day of 2017 as far as the HJC calendar goes. And it made it all the way, went the whole distance. And
so that means every concept after January 1st was not good enough.
We peaked.
Sorry, guys.
More than two. Posted on December 30th.
Yeah, December 30th was the first day of 2017. So technically, it was posted in 2016 and won the 2017.
Every concept in 2017, in the calendar year 2017, was not good enough to win concept of the year. That
The
year,
2017
guys.
concept of the year is from 2016.
Yeah.
Plot twist.
That's how it goes. Love it. Love it. All right. Also, that what has begun this week is the season. Week 1 matchups have begun.
Ooh.
So head on over to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com to vote there for the Week 1 matchups. Some pretty good looking entries this year for the season. Always love the season. And we also have shirts and HJC stickers for sale. Again, go to the blog, hockeyjerseyconcepts.com, and there's a tab that's called Shop. You can find the links to buy those products there. Shawn, Ben, Brendan, Phil, thanks for joining me this week.
Always
My
a
pleasure.
Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. It's always a good time. And be sure to leave us some feedback, comments, or email. However you can get us the feedback. We'd love to hear how we're doing, what you guys think, what you guys would love to hear on the show. And you can listen, download, share, and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, hockeyjerseyconcepts.com, and more. Thanks for listening, and goodbye, everybody.